Imagine Excalibur, but on motorcycles.
Imagine Sons of Anarchy, but they're in Camelot.
Imagine Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but played 100% straight.
Put all that together, and you will still not be prepared for Knightriders.
Welcome to the Hubbubbery with Dan and Hunter. Knights, jousting, and the unmistakable scent of gasoline. It's an age of valor and zero safety regulations. Grab your ridiculously oversized helmet. It's time to ride.
On today's show, we tackled Knightriders, a deeply sincere film about motorcycle jousting from one George Romero.
Oh, George Romero, he was the guy who gave us flesh-eating, face-eating zombies, right?
That's right, the Living Dead. But instead of the Living Dead, what you have is Ed Harris facing an existential crisis.
That doesn't sound quite as exciting. Are you sure there aren't any zombies in this?
Yeah, not gonna get that. Not at all, not in this.
Okay, I'm gonna still hold out hope because, it's George A. Romero and he kind of has a brand and that's sort of his thing.
This is true, but no. Okay, if we're all ready out there, let's get to hubbubbing. Ooh, a raven. Ominous. Why? Hey, you know what? Movies love ominous ravens.
Is there any other kind? Oh, what a nightmare. I dreamt I was a rich cowboy and there was this maze and these robots. Oh, now, thankfully, I'm back in the real world where everything makes sense and I'm a poor jousting knight on a motorcycle. Wait.
Welcome to another episode of Naked Knights.
Ah, yes, the noble act of whacking yourself with a stick.
Ah, there it is. The big twist. Knights on motorcycles. You know why? Knights on motorcycles.
Yeah? Okay.
Hey, look, Gallagher's in this.
Ooh, that's a deep cut, Dan. Sorry, Dan, that's actually Morgan. He's the Black Knight in this movie. We know this because, well, he's a knight, and he's dressed in black.
This is kind of making me hungry.
Looks like his corn is up for grabs.
Well, hey, what do you think they said for this on the casting call?
A slob! A fat slob jerk!
Probably that, I guess.
I like his shirt, though.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna have to shut you down.
Just wait a minute. We have a permit.
I didn't sign this. I don't see how we can let this go on.
Ah, small town deputies, aka the Fuzz, the Heat, the Popo. The man always trying to keep this troop down.
I honestly don't recall that Renaissance fairs were seen as counterculture, but...
Oh, and here's Billy to bring order to this huge kerfuffle we have here.
Yeah, he's a true leader and a keen negotiator. Wonder what he'll say.
We're not paying. It's wrong to pay this guy off. It's wrong, Morgan!
Oh, or that.
Well, that's not great. They don't look like people who need hassles.
We don't need any hassles. We're talking about serious hassles here.
Yeah, see? Exactly. Okay, so after deciding not to pay off the local law, the story begins.
Some action.
When T.H. White...
Some very slow action. Okay.
It's coming.
Hey, look, there's Stephen King. Well, wait a minute. Hang on a second. Wait, Romero and King. You got George A. Romero, Stephen King, masters of horror. I smell a zombie coming right around the corner. Sneak out, gonna jump over some of those people and just eat Stephen King.
No, just the audience waiting for something to happen.
Oh, okay. Ah, okay, now we get to experience why we're all here, I guess.
Because Knights on motorcycles. That's why.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that.
What's the new toy?
That's the mace I made for Morgan. It's made out of metal, not rubber.
I didn't think we should use it until we tried it out first.
Yeah, they are really making a big to-do about this mace.
I guess this is when things get medieval. This is clearly meant to be more intense than it looks here on screen, isn't it?
Well, I think that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell.
Well, the king's down.
It's okay. There's a Billy Club.
Yeah, so long story short, Morgan beat Billy, and if Morgan makes Billy yield, he gets the crown. And the Billy fan club here is trying to prevent that, and Morgan eats dirt! Not only does he not become king, he becomes dead! Oh, wait, in that case, our sincere condolences to Tom Savini's stunt double. Poor guy. I guess it's around here that the movie starts to show the cracks in the family.
Could you sign your name on your picture?
What is this?
It's a magazine called Riders.
I mean, obviously that's you. I mean, you were there. Yeah, I was there. I'm sorry.
All I want you to do is just, sign your name.
This is like Evil Knievel or something like that. It's got nothing to do with what we're doing. How about the autograph of the next king?
So we should talk about this. This has been said a lot, but this is considered to be Romero's most personal film, almost autobiographical.
At the time he had just made Dawn of the Dead, and you have a lot of studios coming to him and trying to capture that success and make something even bigger. So a lot of studios are throwing money at him and saying, "Hey, what can we do that's even bigger than what you did with Dawn of the Dead?"
Yeah, you start to see this. It's got this whole "don't sell out" manifesto, and you see it in how Billy's portrayed, who clearly is a character based on code. Everything he's doing is by the code. He talks about the code a lot. We don't know what the code is specifically, but we know there is one.
So, and that's sort of George. George in this movie is King Billy. He's not King George. No. That's a different person entirely.
Yeah, that would wouldn't be the best name.
Right, yeah. But Billy, that's the best name. So George has sort of placed himself in King Billy's role, and some of these other characters come in and they sort of represent big studio Hollywood at this time, trying to pull him away and say, "Hey, we need to make more money."
Compromise the vision.
And he just doesn't want to do that, and he didn't do that, actually making this movie.
Then you also, on the other end of the spectrum, and he's not really a villain, but we've got the character of Morgan, who represents the compromise. He represents, and it's almost interesting because you can see Morgan and Billy being both sides of George. On one hand, he's like this guy, he wants to be true to the indie roots. He wants to be true to the family. And this is very much a family. This is all of, friends and family from Philadelphia that he used for every movie, either in front of the camera or behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But then you also have Tom Savini, a very big George ally, being an actor who, not really an actor, but he's good in this. And he's the person who's like, hey, a little money might be okay. And it doesn't present him as a bad guy.
Yeah, just a realist in this case.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting about that scene we just watched with the kid. Billy is not selling out, and he's not about, hero worship. He's not about being somebody's idol. He's about holding true to the code. And then you've got Morgan, who's like, yeah, I'll sign it for you.
I get it. The kid just wants an autograph.
Yeah. The sad thing is, that kid, he doesn't know. He's what, 11?
Right, yeah. So Morgan...
Good job, Billy.
Yeah. So Morgan just says, hey, I'm going to make the kid happy.
Yeah.
But, Billy can't really see past his code to realize simple desire here by this kid.
Right. The code and corn sales cannot really sustain a traveling troupe.
Well, I guess we'll find out. More movie ahead.
And now, the part I know some of you have been waiting. Those of you with your own lives.
Just what the hell am I signing away here, man?
Okay, I am going to throw this out there, but opening up your show to pretty much anybody with a motorcycle doesn't seem like the best idea.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. Let's go, race! Look, away they go.
Oh, I love it. One of the many scenes in this movie that doesn't really seem to have much to do with the plot. Now with 100% more banjo.
Oh, thank goodness. I was actually thinking we hadn't had any banjo in this movie up to this point.
We haven't had any banjo in any movies at this point. Granted, it's our second, but still.
Yeah.
I mean, you get banjo in a movie, something's going on.
Anyone out there know a good banjo movie? Don't say Deliverance. Let us know.
Bring us your banjo movies, minus Deliverance, and we will talk about it, at least.
Oh, look, there's more movie. Oh, another motorcycle explosion.
Those things just blow up.
They do that a lot.
I don't even want to drive by a motorcycle now. Those things just combust.
I mean, it's kind of a weak explosion there, but it's still an explosion.
It was like an explosion and a puff.
Yeah.
Love you in the
what?
Soon we get to see what happens when the sun goes down at the kingdom. Cue the zombies!
No zombies. Just knights at night.
Oh.
Everybody here made a conscious adult decision to be here, to be with you. When you go crazy, you force them to rethink that decision. You've got to...
Compromise.
Change doesn't have to mean compromise.
That kid thinks I'm evil Knievel.
That kid thinks you're Sir William the Knight.
Romero needed more. He knew that his characters had to stand for something, especially Billy, to be a hero.
You're his hero.
I'm not trying to be a hero. I'm fighting the dragon.
Hey, dragons! Now you're talking.
No dragons either.
We got reason to believe there's a controlled substance in this van. The unholy weed. I'm sure we can reach a informal bail arrangement.
You again? I told you to pay this guy off the last time.
And I said we're not paying.
Let's go after them, pay them, and then get the hell out of here.
We're not paying. That's the way Billy wants it.
Oh, that's great. So what, we save $500 here and we lose $2,000 for blowing a show.
Morgan has a good point here, but $2,000, even in 1981 money, doesn't really seem like that much for a troupe that large. Well, anyway, knights, mount up. The tour must go on.
My God, that's Steve.
Steve? Steve Rogers?
Jeff?
Huh?
Where the hell have you been? We've called every motel in Lawrence.
Oh, no, look, it's just Peyton Manning.
What is that on their flyer? Tournament and fair, medieval jousting, food and fun and excitement for the whole family.
I want to go.
Yeah, they really sell it.
Food and fun and excitement?
Yeah, all of those
The
things.
trifecta.
Yeah. You know what this flyer doesn't have on it? Anything about motorcycles.
Oh. Well, that would seem like it'd be important for a motorcycle troupe.
I think that logo is a tire, but you're expecting a lot to get somebody to make that connection.
So while Billy deals with being jailed, fancy TV people try to lure the troupe to greener pastures.
This is Joseph.
Bontempi. Joe Bontempi.
Hey, that's the blood-sucking lawyer from Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, it is. He looks like a blood-sucking whatever he is in this movie too.
Hey, Morgan, these are TV people. They're looking for Billy. I guess Steve set all this up.
Billy's in jail.
He's the star, isn't he?
We can handle it without him.
And Morgan is seduced by this idea.
There's some pretty heavy googly eyes going on there. Ooh. This is the saddest parade I've ever seen.
All right, hang on a second. Let's pump the brakes for a minute. We're an hour into the movie here, and I feel like a lot has happened and nothing really has happened at the same exact time.
That's fair.
So to recap, no zombies.
This is true, but we do have a traveling troupe.
If it's a traveling troupe of zombies, you got me. But it doesn't look that way, Dan.
And they're divided.
Okay.
All right. Billy has code.
A code of what?
A code of honor.
Okay.
So Billy has the code, and Morgan has, he's more of a realist, right?
Okay.
And the code, I mean, they're on the road, so let's call it road code. And, but it's for knights. And there's jousting.
Okay. Well, I don't really know what any of that means.
It's about Billy wanting independence and Morgan wanting commercial success.
Well, I guess that actually makes sense. I feel like it maybe took its ever-loving time to get there.
You know why?
Why?
Because knights on motorcycles.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot. Good point. Fair. Meanwhile, Peyton Manning tries to lure Billy with a similar deal.
You're going to pull $15K out of Broward. You could pull 30 or 40 out of some of these big county fairs. You could do 3 or 4 of these big gigs this summer. You can do whatever the hell you want for the rest of the year. This guy's talking about setting you up with all fancy new costumes. I just don't want to see you all break up.
The important thing is we got to stay together. We got to keep the troupe together. And if keeping the troupe going means that we have to take some of this promoter's money, let's take it and get some sleep.
But Billy is having none of that.
The code that we're living by is the troupe. The troupe is our code. I can't let people walk on that idea.
See, Billy's resolve, it's stronger than Morgan's. He's not selling out.
Yeah, and you know what? That's actually a really good time to take a little break and talk about Excalibur! It's the only medieval drink that's as bold as a knight and as refreshing as a victory sip from the Holy Grail!
What was that?
What was what?
Is this like a side hustle?
Oh, it's just the official drink of the Hubbubbery, and the only way to summon this divine nectar is to like and subscribe. Hit the buttons below.
Okay, well, moving on.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, if you want more Excalibur, you know what to do.
Hey, here's what every action-adventure movie needs. A Chamber of Commerce meeting.
Oh, that is exciting.
Hey, look, you don't like it? Get out! You cannot have a council meeting without everyone being here!
Yeah, okay. Billy yelling, losing his cool here is not really helping his case much.
This is a picture I'd like to get. My photographer caught with her pants down.
I'll drink to that.
Hey, Joe Bontempi knows a little something about getting caught with his pants down.
No. Hi.
I didn't order this!
You know, if there's broccoli on that pizza, I'd throw it too.
Definitely didn't order that.
So, we'll see you guys in D.C. Are you sure you can get the riders?
I've made a decision. When this thing is over today, I'm taking off with this guy. I mean, he's offering me the world, and this is rapidly going into the toilet. And I deserve to be king. So I'm forming my own kingdom.
Who's a dude? Some promoter from D.C., man. Morgan and a bunch of guys are living with him. Billy's out of commission. Everybody's cutting. The whole thing's over, man.
POV when you wanted to go to Disney World, but your parents started a traveling motorcycle jousting troupe instead.
Come on, let's go!
Oh, good! More jousting. Just when you thought you'd seen enough, the movie bravely says, no, you haven't.
You know, it's funny. I feel like if you cut out all the jousting of this movie, it'd probably be like 45 minutes.
Yeah, this movie has more jousting than the entirety of medieval history.
Come back!
Wow, you know, there are a lot of standout performances from all these background characters, the Bactors, if you will.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the heroes in the back here.
Well, let's see. We had Stephen King.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Fat Slob Jerk.
The Mime.
The Mime. I feel like we should name him. He looks like a lovable character, don't you think?
Sure. Brad.
Okay. The Pumped Up Dude Bros.
Adam Sandler. He came to the Motorcycle Renaissance Fair and seemed mad about all the motorcycles. You know, I think George Romero, probably his direction to anybody in the background, who were probably just a bunch of friends and family, was like, I don't know, have some fun.
You think of something to do? Do it 100 times that. Flail your arms about, what have you.
Yeah, because this red shirt guy, he's at peak excitement. If I was next to him, I'd kind of be like, all right.
All the great little red shirt kind of actors.
This is where, you know, being a red shirt actually pays off.
Got a whole lot of screen time.
Red shirt guy made the trailer.
Yes, he did.
So they knew.
Yeah.
We are onto something here. And we didn't pay anything for this guy except for some corn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening here, but this is what happens when I have way too much coffee.
Yeah, this movie seems to have kind of entered the, I don't know, let's just roll with it phase. 1981, where we just let anything fly. No guardrails, no problem.
Can you imagine trying to explain this setup to an event insurance company?
Yeah, that would go well.
She won!
Hubbada, hubbada, hubbada.
Ah, yes, behold, the rare and majestic wild riderless motorcycle.
A truly magnificent creature roaming free in its natural habitat.
Observe how it effortlessly glides across the terrain, unburdened by its former rider.
With no natural predators, it is free to roam, unchallenged.
Truly, we are witnessing one of nature's great migrations.
Jennifer!
Oh! What was that?
No!
It hunts for sport.
Nature is brutal.
So majestic. So deadly.
Oh, she's down. Now it's zombie time.
No, still no.
Now that this kid's mom is out of the picture, the mime called dibs.
So I guess that someone's seriously injured, it's just business as usual.
Yeah, it's like the movie said, oh, you thought we were done? Here are more motorcycles. Here we go, Billy's back into action. It's like he finally remembered he's the main character of this story.
I got this guy! I've been waiting for this guy for a long time, man.
Ooh, enter the Raven and exit any connection that Billy had with reality. And with that, we are officially done with the longest sequence of motorcycle-based existential crisis ever filmed.
Yeah, I almost had an existential crisis just getting through that.
Well, there you have it. The team's fractured. Alan's taken off, and Morgan and his team are going to meet the corporate overlords.
Oh, yeah, and speaking of corporate overlords, Dan, this episode of the Hubbubbery is brought to you by Excalibur. It's the only medieval drink that...
Not again.
Yes again! And all you have to do is share this video with a friend and leave a comment below for more Excalibur!
Noble travelers, hear ye, hear ye.
Oh, come on, you're in on this too?
A drink fit for warriors, a beverage of destiny. Partake in the sacred elixir known only as Excalibur.
Okay, well, back to this. Morgan's getting a taste of fame by being beefcaked.
Let's not say that.
There he is, the master of horror makeup, giving everyone a glimpse of his Savini.
Let's not say that either. Yeah, he looks, incredibly uncomfortable here. He seems to be seeing the error of his ways, both as an actor and as this character.
Yeah, and the rest of his crew decided to apparently remodel their hotel room. You think they're going to get their deposit back?
Clearly, they don't know how to live in the real world. All they've ever known is knighthood, so, they have no idea what they're doing. What were they thinking? They never stood a chance away from the troupe.
There can only be one king, Morgan. You can't just split off and start over again. There can only be one king, one time. That's the law.
A rousing moment of camaraderie and excitement. And hey, it only took about 2 hours to get there.
Yep, I was timing it. And first, a little bit more back whipping.
Yep.
There's an H in that word. Whipping.
I know we're saying it's back whipping, but it's more like back flapping.
Flapping, yeah.
It's like he's just like, psst. It's supposed to look like, gonna teach myself a lesson.
Yeah.
But he's more like, I've gone to town more than that with just a back scratcher.
It's kind of like, maybe I'm gonna use my imagination when I do this.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I really need to hurt myself.
Well, he's like, I'm already standing bare-assed in this cold Pennsylvania water. What do you want, man?
Need to get myself one of those sticks.
Morgan's crew looked like the guys who weren't allowed to be in KISS. You got, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley, Peter Criss, and Paul Stanley. These guys look like the guy who would play the triangle.
They're the Bactors of KISS.
The Bactors of KISS, yeah. They're not going to get to meet the Phantom of the Park.
No. Oh, look, and the whole crew's back together. Time to fight some zombies.
Nope.
Or jousting.
Billy, my king. Morgan's agreed to fight, and if you'll allow me, I will fight for you in defense of the crown.
All right.
Ooh, sound the trumpets, or at least honketh the horneth. Thanks for writing that.
This is the most extreme version of Red Rover I've ever seen.
This field of battle is filled with honor and bravery and about 7 or 8 OSHA violations at least. Hey, look, it's Brad, the manic mime. This mime's operating at a completely different wavelength than anybody else in the audience or in this movie.
Yeah, he's living his best life. Morgan jumps ahead in the rankings to first place. That's right, after a lengthy all-out battle, Morgan is triumphant. leaving Billy with no choice but to relinquish the crown and live the rest of his life as one of the living dead.
Aw, who's the bravest widow knight in the whole troop? You are. You are.
You know those contracts? Burn them, baby.
Well, and with that, our heroes ride off into the sunset.
Ooh, not quite. Billy has a few things to check off his to-do list.
Okay.
Explore the open road as a free knight. Assault that crooked cop with the full force of a salad bar at his disposal. Give a deadly weapon to an 11-year-old. Ride a real horse. And now everything is right.
Oh, God, no! Why do they keep doing that?
Oh, my God. And just as he seemed to find peace.
More like pieces. Wait, where is he? Did he just become one with the Force?
And thus concludes the noble saga of King Billy, abruptly and with a loud honk.
Here's Billy's funeral. A lot of long faces.
At least Brad the Mime finally settled down.
Come on, I think the funnel cake stand is still open.
And there it is. The Raven watches overhead as a once and future king rides on. Whew, okay, we're back.
Yeah, we are. We survived. Thank you for joining us on that survival.
This is an era that's kind of interesting. Even though this movie is not exactly fantasy, it's fantasy adjacent. I mean, it's an action adventure. You've got knights.
Right.
On motorcycles.
Yeah.
And it does kind of reference the story of King Arthur. Around this time, almost like the golden era of fantasy cinema. It really kind of, this is the period where it really had a resurgence.
A lot of movies coming out in the early 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed to get brought on by the likes of Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars definitely, it showed that there was fantasy. I consider Star Wars fantasy more than sci-fi, but fantasy, sci-fi genre movies could be commercial successes.
You had that happen, and then pretty much every studio was like, okay, we have to bottle that and do it again.
Oh, yeah.
So,
you have varying degrees of success.
Right, yeah. I mean, you had Hawk the Slayer, Clash of the Titans, Dragon Slayer, Beastmaster, Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer, Sword and the Sorcerer, Krull, Legend, it goes on, Highlander.
Oh, yeah. That was the 80s.
Yeah, and also, interestingly, and I can't imagine this would happen these days because a lot of studios sort of coordinate when movies are released, but the movie Excalibur, King Arthur telling, was released on the exact same day in the theaters as Knightriders.
And I had no idea of that until we were doing our research and you told me. And I saw Excalibur in the theater. Now, I watched Knightriders a lot on cable. It was on cable a lot. When you're a 13-year-old, you watch them, especially movies that are probably not supposed to be watched by you at your age. Right. Or mine.
Well, there's not a whole lot else to do.
Not a lot else to do, but I had cable and I had nights on motorcycles. So there is a lot of love for this movie because for George Romero, it's an important movie. It meant a lot to him. One thing about this movie being more of an indie movie or a low-budget movie, the stunts, I don't necessarily think they were as tightly controlled or planned or choreographed.
What gives you that idea?
I mean, you can complain about this movie, but one thing is, anytime somebody goes down, yeah, they're really going down.
Oh yeah, there were a couple pretty hard hits in this movie.
I expected this movie at the very end to have a long list of dedicated to.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
Going back to the movies and the genres, it also kind of died off and then came back around again. And that's kind of where we are now. And it started with, when Lord of the Rings came out and the Harry Potter movies came out. And even up to like when Game of Thrones was on HBO. Now, those properties all have built-in audiences.
Right.
So as long as they do them well, they were going to break even. They were going to make their money. Well, obviously they did a lot. But it does kind of point to where we are now, because this whole idea of the indie versus the commercial has sort of flip-flopped. What's commercial today versus in 1981? What's commercial today?
Yeah, well, it's kind of all sequels, right? I think the top 10 in domestic box office last year was all existing IP, if not all sequels.
Yeah, sequels, I mean, that is a big part.
They make the money, so...
They make the money.
Yeah.
And that's not going away. We've heard it a lot over the past, few years. There's sort of been the pendulum swinging back against the Marvel movies and the big budget movies, and it's sort of like the indie movement is now anti-big blockbuster, superhero, sci-fi genre movies, which it was the opposite back then. Those were the indies because they didn't have any money and, it started to get more budget.
Yeah.
Well, now we're in the era, and the indies pretty much swept the Oscars, but they aren't the commercial hits. Now, the Oscars will help them be hits, reach a bigger audience, will help them make more money, but the big budget movies are not those.
Yeah.
It is kind of interesting how indie and mainstream, it's that constant push and pull. It does kind of make you wonder what truly matters.
And what truly matters is Excalibur!
Hark, brave warriors! Dost thou seek the power to conquer thine enemies with unmatched vigor? The answer is clear. Thou shalt drink Excalibur!
And all you have to do is like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and offer a blood sacrifice to the YouTube algorithm.
Stop! Enough! No more. That is not what we need. That is not what we're about. That's not what the show is about. That's not what all this is about. This is about the hubbubbery, the love of movies, the joy of the films that kind of fell through the cracks, the unknown, the lesser known, the lost, the forgotten. Nah, come on, you're missing the point. Don't sell out, brother.
You're right. Nigel, he's right. We're sorry.
But you should like, subscribe, and comment. It's the honorable, hubbubable thing to do.
You heard Dan. Do all those things and offer a toast of fictional Excalibur to the fallen kings of highway miscalculations. If thine horse hath an engine, checketh the oil. Trust not in mimes. And above all, look both ways before jousting on the freeway. For honor, for the code, for Hubbubbery!